Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing around with collage papers and showing how to colour match some of your collage pages. So I'm starting off with this collage page from Natalie May Studio. On the bits that I don't want to lose the colour, particularly her face or any skin tone bits, I'm putting some white gesso on the back of the image. That's just going to protect that colour a little bit so I don't lose it in the end result. Obviously, for those people who've used collage papers before, as soon as you put the gel medium on, the page goes a little bit translucent. Any light colours on the page will go translucent and I'll pick up the colours from behind. So if you want to keep the colours as pure as possible, just paint them out with some white paint in the background. Now I could have painted that straight onto the journal page. I chose to paint it onto the back of the collage paper just because that's what I do. So I'm starting off with using the colours in the background. There was a lot of blues, so I got my blue paints out and I've just started mixing them on the page. They're all wet on wet, so they're all sort of blending together. Then I'm going in with a stiff bristled brush and I'm putting some paint marks over the top. So the first layer was quite mixed together. Now this second layer is a little bit more deliberate. And you'll notice I'm not only painting on my journal page, but I'm also painting on the image itself. And that's a way I find it really, really easy to blend collage papers into the background. As soon as you start adding the paint colours that you're using in the background onto your page, it sort of helps make it all make sense again. So you can see here, obviously the skin tone that I'm using is slightly different from the skin tone on the page, but because I'm painting it over all of it, it's sort of bringing it together again. I'm also balancing that by putting some of those colours into the background as well. So it's just layers and layers and layers. The layers that I'm using are fairly thin. I'm not putting anything on too thick, so I can see what it looks like, and then if I need to add more, I can over the top. With the skin tones, with this one in particular, I was getting a bit brave because when you actually look at the collage paper, you can see there's so many different colours in it. It's not just one colour. So I was adding greys and sage greens and blues onto my skin tone to blend it all together. So it looks ridiculous, but just have faith in the process. Just go for it. How much can you really mess it up, you know? It's not going to be too bad. Then I'm going in with some night to paint in the top of her hair. So you can sort of see there, now painting back in her hair again, that it kind of all makes sense once again. And this is the good thing about using collage papers is you've got the model underneath to help you out. So it doesn't really matter that I'm only seeing a little bit of the original colours of the collage paper because I've got all the different bits and pieces to help me out. Same with the hair. I'm just using a really fine brush and I'm using lots of different colours in her hair. So with most things, when you start to notice them, it's not just one colour, there's quite a few different colours. And in this I've obviously got the dark blue underneath, and then I'm using the turquoise, I'm using some yellow, I'm using some orange over the top of her face. Same with her face itself. In the original, it did have those sort of slashes of blue on there, so I'm adding those in again, and I'm adding a few extra down on her body down the bottom. In the background too, I'm going in with a little bit of pink just to add a little bit of contrast there. So as I was doing this though, even though I really liked how this was looking, I was finding that the background was almost too similar, particularly to her hair, but to everything else in the background. I then decided I'd maybe try and darken her so that she would pop out from the background, and it didn't quite work for me. So now I'm going in, instead of having the paint, which I wiped off, I went in with the Tim Holtz Distress crayons as well. So one of the reasons I love working in acrylics is if I do make a mistake, like putting on that paint and it was a bit too heavy, you can wipe it away. You don't have to stick with it. You can get a wet wipe and wipe it off. So here I decided I was going to be a bit brave and paint out my background and then go in with the stencil and ghost it. To be honest, it probably would have been better just leaving it with the paler colour, because the figure obviously really stuck out. But I really like those patches of colour from the background. So you've sort of got this wire fence behind her now instead. Having that little bit of lightness on the page just helps to balance it up a little bit more from the background. So when I was finished doing this, while I was happy with her sort of skin tones down the bottom, I did something really odd with the shoulder there. It looks huge in comparison. So that's obviously where I'm going to put the quote on the page, just to sort of balance that. So I find where I've made a little bit of a boo-boo or something doesn't quite make sense, that's where I'm going to put my quote. So I've just put in a keyword. I think this was like strong quotes, and then write the quote in. So I start off with a thin paint pen, then I'm going in and thickening up my letters a little bit, just because I like the look of that. If you are good at calligraphy, this is your time to shine. So I find a lot of people are really scared of handwriting their quotes on their page. It doesn't matter, just have a go. As I always say, practice makes progress, so the more you do it, the better it's going to be. Mine have certainly improved over the years. It's still not perfect, but I don't mind writing on my pages. If you really don't like it, there's always stamps, there's always stencils, there's always ways to get around it, even if you print out your own quote. The thing I like about handwriting on is you can put it exactly where you want it and make it fit to where you want it to be, as opposed to sort of printing it out and it not being quite the right size and so on. So once I've thickened up my black, I'm going in with my white pen just to give a bit of a highlight, help push it out from the background, and balance it all up again. Having that little spot of black and white on the page is really, really important, just to make sure that everything sort of is right on track, really. So if you are outgrowing who you've been, you are right on schedule, which is obviously something I needed to tell myself today. I did this. And I'm just going in finally with my little bit of Stabilo Oil Pencil, just to put a little bit of black back in her hair again and balance it out a little bit. So this is the final piece. You can sort of see in the close-up how it all comes together, how it's all layered up, the different layers of paint. I'm particularly pleased with her hair. Usually I struggle with hair, but I was really pleased with how the hair looked in this piece. So I hope that helps you when you're using collage sheets and how to sort of match the colours and to keep going. Big trick is paint over the collage piece itself so it looks like the paint belongs. Until next time, bye for now.